we will keep going anyway. So yeah, when we deal with the science and art of this medicine, there's so many correspondences between this and different ways that it works in our body. So when we're talking about this medicine, it's similar and but very different from Western medicine in that when I'm speaking on different organ systems of the body, I'm not necessarily speaking of it from a Western perspective. So when I'm speaking on like the heart and the lungs and the spleen and the liver and the kidneys and other organ systems like that, it doesn't have a one-to-one correspondence to how we may think about it in just like your Western anatomy and physiology books. In fact, when I first started school, it was really confusing for the first couple weeks because, we learn about the liver and learning about liver qi stagnation and liver blood deficiency and heart shin and all of these foreign terms, and none of them really fully related to like an idea of Western anatomy and physiology and textbook type of thing. It was literally another language I had to learn with this medicine. And so in my private practice here in Brooklyn, in person, I specialize in sports medicine, acupuncture. So the majority of the people that are coming into the office are coming in for various injuries, whether athletically related or work related, or even just aging. Folks have neck pain from and shoulder pain, maybe from sitting at the desk for so long, just typing on the computer, or having bad posture sitting at the desk. Someone's neck can be all forward as they're like really jutting forward, or folks maybe typing on their with the we used to have what the BlackBerry thumb, but now it's even more with the scrolling, looking at the screen all day. So many folks, their vision and things are affected by that. And as we're looking at how all of this happens, it actually has a function that's related to our organ systems from an Eastern medicine perspective. For example, like the vision, just talking about looking at the phone. And having this small screen and the light coming off of it, folks can end up with like blurry vision or spotty vision, and that's related to the liver. We say that the energy of the liver opens up to the eyes, and the liver is responsible for storing the blood. So if you ever have like blurry vision or lightheadedness and dizziness, that can oftentimes be a dysfunction of the blood circulation to the eyes. And so when we look at all of that also from a sports medicine standpoint, the liver again stores the blood, and the liver rules your sinews, we say in Eastern medicine. And the sinews relate to like your tendons and your ligaments. So your tendons are going to connect your muscles to your bone. That's like the gristle, if someone ever eaten a piece of chicken or something like that. And then the ligaments are what's attaching the bones to your bones. So as I'm doing all of this, my forearm muscles are connected to my wrist here by the tendons. And then the bone itself is connected to my body by the ligaments. And that's a function of the liver, and specifically the liver blood. And again, in Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine, the Taoist medicine, the five elements, the liver it stores the blood. And so from a psycho-emotional standpoint, when we're looking at the liver is like the general of the body. And each thing also relates to different functions in the government, like the king, the general, the vizier, or like the head advisor. All of this relates to functions within the body. So if you're not healthy and imbalanced in different ways, that internal body government is going to be off. And that's another story for another time. But we can go into more of that. But to go back to what I was saying, the liver is responsible for the smooth flow of your body's chi. And one of the things that can affect your chi or your vital energy can affect that smooth flow are the emotions. For the liver specifically, the emotion is anger. So that anger can really constrict the liver and cause that chi not to flow as well. And that chi, that constriction, can stop that flow. It can constrict on the blood vessels, which is then going to affect how the blood circulates anywhere in the body, how the blood is circulating to your muscles, can constrict on the blood vessels, can overact on all sorts of other organ systems on the body. Those emotions can overact on the digestive system. Like some people, when they're angry, um, and even with the liver, it can be any emotion, even though different emotions affect each of the different organ systems. Any outburst or any imbalance or too much of any emotion can cause the chi to stagnate, especially when it's going on for a long period of time. Of course, emotions are natural, and we want to express our emotions as part of our personality and as part of who we are as humans. But too much of anything can cause the energy to not circulate as well. And with that chi and that blood being stagnant from the overexpression of emotions, specifically anger, stress, depression, anxiety, fear, worry, grief, overthinking, all of these things, overjoy, and each of those organs that I name actually relate to the liver, the heart, the lung, the spleens, and the kidney, but they're all going to really affect the liver. And those emotions, I'm sure many of you have experienced, where if you're feeling anxious, you can kind of feel it in your stomach. So we say that's that liver energy overacting on the digestive system. And that constriction also can affect um, how the blood is able to circulate to the tendons and the joints. My folks on Instagram, thanks for tuning in. Joy and Harold, Caleb, what's up, nephew? Let me know if you can see my picture. On my side is just showing my countdown, but leave a message if it's just showing the countdown, or if you're also seeing the video. If you only see the video, the countdown, I'm also live on YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn. So I'm also the same thing, Dr. Bashar Wilson, my name on YouTube. And you'll actually probably get a better full screen picture on YouTube. So head on over there. It's going to be the same live stream. It's just you'll catch it fully on your screen there. But again, that liver energy can stagnate and cause the tendons and the joints to become constricted. And when those tendons and joints become constricted, now you're talking about decreased range of motion. And this is how someone can have a strained muscle or a sprained ligament. Like oftentimes with athletes can sprain their ankle or have rotator cuff injuries. Our rotator cuff, which is now shoulder, are a bunch of different muscles, but those muscles all relate and connect with tendons to the joint. So long-term stress, long-term energy stagnation can be part of the root to different injuries. And I say all this to say that um, we have to deal with you from the root cause, from whatever it is to affect other organ systems in the body. Whether right now I'm just making an example, talking about the tendons and the ligaments, but we say the spleen, which in this medicine rules the muscles and the flesh and the digestion. If your digestion is off, it's going to affect your muscles. whether it's how you recover from when you work out, or make you more susceptible to injury, or cause your muscles to not be as strong and become more flaccid and weak. Um, and when we're dealing with the flesh, that's not just the muscles, that's the flesh of everything internally in our body. So now we're talking about the flesh of the muscle, of the heart muscle. So the heart muscle is the heart itself, but that's also reliant on um, the strength and the function of the digestive system. And we also know that cardiovascular disease is like the number one cause of death in the US as people get older. So that's not only a function of the heart muscle, that's also a byproduct of the strength of the digestion. And when we're looking at the American system and how most people eat and things, like a lot of people, generally over the course of their life, the standard American diet can consist of a lot of salt, a lot of sugar, a lot of fat, a lot of processed foods, alcohol, all of these different things that can really weaken the digestive system over time. And that's going to affect the flesh of everything in the body, whether it's the heart, the flesh of the lung tissue, and the lungs in terms of those bellows, how they're able to pump and function. The lungs aren't a muscle, but the diaphragm, which is underneath, which um, helps with the function of the lungs, inhaling and exhaling. If that's weak, that's going to now also affect your lungs, which is then going to affect how deep you're able to breathe in and how deep your oxygen capacity is. It's going to affect the flesh of your liver and all the functions of the liver in terms of its function on detoxing the blood, its function on storing the blood. It's going to affect the flesh of your pancreas and your spleen, which deals with, in Western medicine, your immune system, and also, of course, your insulin. The flesh of your intestines and how well your body is able to digest foods, your stomach and small intestine and large intestine. So you can see how our bodies aren't compartmentalized, but it's all functioning as one thing, and everything affects each other, and everything is working together, just like gears in a car or gears in a machine. When one thing um, begins to get weaker or is ill or disease, is going to directly affect other things that are going on in the body. When we're looking at the heart in Eastern medicine, the heart rules the blood vessels. So we're talking about like your veins, your arteries, your capillaries, all of the other small vessels in the body. And there's, I forget how many thousands of miles. I think if you were able to lay out your blood vessels inside of your body, it would literally make a whole trip around the whole globe. That's how many veins and arteries and tiny blood vessels that are circulating all through our body. And so we want to make sure that those blood vessels are open. We know the effects of um, how grease and stress even can cause cholesterol and bad fats to build up in the blood vessels, and over time cause them to become even tighter. And then if we're talking about the stress constricting on top of that, now your blood isn't able to get where it needs to go. Your blood isn't able to get to the brain. And now folks aren't able to think clearly, are having, foggy thoughts, aren't able to get to the eyes. And again, you're having the blurry vision, the dry eyes, the red eyes, the painful eyes. It's not able to nourish your skin and keep your skin looking youthful. It's not able to nourish all of your organ systems, not going to get to the reproductive organs. And men will experience the impotence, and women will experience the vaginal dryness, and um, the blood isn't able to circulate down into the knees, into the feet, and can make someone more susceptible to arthritis and cold hands and cold feet. It's not going to nourish the tendons and cause the stiffness in the tendons and the joints. So, um, with the heart deals too on a psycho spiritual level with what we call our body shin, which is how we relate to our higher self, to our soul, and ultimately to our life purpose. When we're looking at the functions in government, we say that the heart is the emperor. That is where the emperor lives, is in the heart. And that's how we connect to, again, our higher self and our higher spirit. And in Eastern medicine, the emperor is the son of heaven, or the child of heaven, to keep it gender, to relate to men and women um, in that way. And so we want to help to nourish the heart blood and help to nourish that. And that comes with staying balanced, meditation, the color, your different red foods, your beets, different foods, you can look it up. That's going to help to nourish the heart. Different herbs that are going to nourish the heart. And that's where I come in also as a professional to help to guide you through these things, to get you a personalized treatment plan for what may be going on within the body anywhere, so that we can really get to the root, so that you can heal completely. So if you're coming in with neck pain or back pain or shoulder pain, if you have underlying internal issues, that pain isn't going to be able to fully heal and fully stick until your internal body is healed. Because you think about it, what's more important to you, or what do you think would even be more important to your body on a subconscious level? um, Pain in your wrist or in your elbow or your shoulders, or your digestion and your heart and the function of your kidneys, of course, your internal organs. And so we want to make sure that we're nourishing that, not only with treating it with acupuncture, getting the chi and the blood moving, but also with herbs and nutritional supplements. And there are even things, again, on a metaphysical level that you can do in terms of positive affirmations, meditation, whether you're talking about moving meditations like qigong or tai chi, or sitting meditations where you're visualizing and actually tapping into your chi and circulating it to your body, sending positive chi to those areas of the body, whether it's your heart or your lungs or your spleen or your liver or your kidneys or your knees and ankle or shoulder or wherever. But the body has to be able to make strong chi through having strong body function. When we look at the lungs in actually, I'm skipping something. We'll just go in order. I'll just keep going with the lungs. When we're looking at the lungs in the Eastern medicine, Chinese medicine perspective, the lungs rule the skin. So different things like eczema, psoriasis, dry skin are in this medicine, and even in Western medicine, even oftentimes related to lung function and lung strength. And the lungs are also responsible for what we call the Wei Qi, which is that outer shield outside of our bodies that keeps the wind from coming in, keeps external pathogens from invading the body. That's a function of, we almost have like a screen. There's an herbal formula called the jade windscreen formula, where it makes that our immune system almost as strong and as hard as like jade stone, impenetrable in that way. And we need our skin to be the same way. So we're staying hydrated, drinking water. There are different herbs like astragalus, American ginseng, herbs that are going to, we say, strengthen the chi, to strengthen the body's yin, to strengthen the body's yang, are all going to go in to help that lung function, which is going to deal with the skin. When we're looking at the spleen and the stomach in Eastern medicine, which is the earth element, that rules the digestion. And again, as we were saying before, the digestion is the root of our body's chi and blood, meaning when we eat our food, right? Our food goes into our digestive system, and we say like the pure aspect of that is separated and sent up to the lungs, where it mixes with the chi of the air. So that pure chi from the food and the water goes up and mixes with the chi of the air and creates, and our body transforms all of that into our chi and our blood. The um, the waste aspect of that is then sent down, the liquid is sent down to the small intestine and the urinary bladder, where it's excreted when you urinate. And the solid waste, of course, goes through the process through the small intestine and the large intestine, and you crap it out. You defecate that out. And so our digestive systems have to be strong. So if you're experiencing bloating, you're experiencing gas, acid reflux, tired after eating, these are all signs and symptoms of a weak digestion, diarrhea, constipation, incomplete bowel movement. If you're eating foods that are too cold, like cold salads all the time, and if you have an upset stomach, even though it's healthy per se, um, that cold can cause the digestive system to be weak. Rich foods, greasy foods, oily foods, overly sweet foods, processed foods, all of these things the body's not able to um, break down well, and then you're going to be tired because you have the poor quality foods is going to cause low chi, low blood. So folks even have like anemia in Western medicine, or what we call blood deficiency. That can also be a function of the effects of your digestion, of how your emotions overact and can even weaken the digestion. um, and when we're eating foods that are impure, that's also going to build up and turn into that water that's not processed correctly, is going to turn into dampness, we say. And that dampness can further congeal and turn into mucus. And that mucus can then store in the lungs. And now you have runny nose, nasal congestion, post nasal drip. That dampness can begin to build up in the body like you're holding water. And that dampness, as we say in Eastern medicine, shows up with weight gain. So folks that's overweight or obese, we say that's partly a form of dampness in the body. And dampness is heavy. So oftentimes folks that are overweight and obese, they're moving slow. Like a lot of times when I have heavy patients, sometimes overweight patients, they take a long time to get up off the table. Everything is just an extra movement, and we say that's extra dampness. If you think of it on a almost like like a damp sponge or a soggy sponge, it's just like, like when you touch a soggy sponge, it's just like, you know, kind of like that. And the body can be the same way, and it's just more for the body to move around. And over time, that dampness can go even further again and turn into the phlegm. And that's where that phlegm builds up and clogs up the blood vessels, clogs up all of the circulation in our bodies. We know our bodies are over 70% water. And so that water is circulating through pipes in our body. Our body is pretty much a big old system of pipes for different fluids to circulate all within our closed system. And when those pipes become clogged up, it's going to be more work for the body to do. And that work can lead to inflammation, can lead to pain. That work can overwork the body, can begin to age the body more. Um, Lead to, again, more weight on the tendons and the joints, and then all of that, it just has a global effect where it's just affecting everything in that way. Lastly, when we deal with the kidneys, the energy of the kidneys, it rules the bones and the bone marrow. And so the kidneys rule the lower back, the kidneys rule the knees. The kidneys rule reproductive function. And in this medicine, the kidneys are like the battery pack of the body. When we're born, we have a certain amount of charge in our batteries. And just like a battery, when you plug it into a machine, it's slowly going to drain the energy. And that's what we see over the course of our life, is that energy begins to drain. That's when we're seeing the process of aging, the graying of the hair, the loosening of the teeth, the wrinkling of the skin, and all of the other effects of aging, dysfunction in the organs, not being able to recover as quickly as we did when we were younger. If you have children, there's certain things your kids do that you would never do. They be jumping, falling all over the place, falling on their knees. You see kids fall and slip. You be like, dang, that one thing that happened would have took me out for the next 2 or 3 months. And so some of that inability to recover as quickly is a function of the kidney, and that kidney chi, that kidney essence beginning to decrease and wane. So we want to do all of the different activities that we know that helps to support our health. And when we support our health, we're not going to tap into that chi, tap into that essence as much. So that comes with, again, thinking the right thoughts, being in a positive mood, smiling to yourself. You might want to talk to yourself in the mirror and give yourself positive affirmations, breathing into different parts of your body and taking time to meditate, your spiritual practice. All of these things are going to help to build up the body. With the kidneys, again, with dealing with like your sexual energy, that sexual temperance, in terms of not oversexing, in terms of men that's not ejaculating all the time, because that when we ejaculate, that's what we say part of that essence is leaving our body too. So as the older we get, it's not saying don't have sex and things. It's just saying you don't have to ejaculate each time, and that's a whole nother science. And you may have heard that if you're listening to me and watching me still and interested in these things. You may have heard some of that before. And so we want to, again, work to help to support all of these things. So in terms of bone issues, and the marrow being where blood is produced in the body on a anatomical and physiological level, even in Eastern medicine, we want to support the bones and the bone marrow. We say that in Eastern medicine that the brain is the sea of marrow. And so as our kidney energy begins to decrease, again, this can come with forgetfulness, with aging, in Western medicine, diseases like Alzheimer's, dementia. All of this is where that marrow is beginning to decrease, and that's a function of the kidneys going. And as the kidneys, that chi and that essence um, begins to run out, we say it separates, and that separate of yin and yang, or yin and yang, as people may say. That's when death occurs. So, spoke a lot, got kind of esoteric tonight. Thanks for my folks who are sitting and watching. Again, let me see. If you are on Instagram, go to YouTube, because it looks like this Instagram isn't quite working. But if there are any questions or anything, if you are still there, Doriel Imani, thanks for tuning in. Last time we saw each other, you were like, we're not up that late. Here you go. And I'm doing so well with continuity. Thank you. I appreciate it. We got to keep it going. If you're still there, thanks for tuning in. If not, I know it's late. But yes, again, I am Dr. Bashar Wilson. I'm a doctor of acupuncture and Chinese medicine. I've been in private practice since 2003. Where I have a private practice here in Brooklyn, New York, in the Bushwick, Bed-Stuy area of New York. And I'm also available virtually, wherever you are in the world, in the country. We can actually get on Zoom or just get on whatever video call or phone call and set up a consultation where we discuss your health goals, get you with a consultation and get to the root and of your health issues to paint a picture of what's going on with you specifically and create a treatment plan of herbal medicine, of nutritional supplements, lifestyle changes, and different things that you can do, meditations, self massage, all sorts of things that you can do on your own to help you reach your health goals. I can be reached at 888-375-5444. That's my answering service. So you just call that and someone will answer 24/7 and leave a message with them. And I will get that and call you back. And we can, even just talk for a few minutes if you just have some questions to see if this is right for you. This may not be right for everybody where you are. But to see if, this is right for you and be a good fit for us to work together to help you reach your health goals and also to set an appointment even to come in to my private practice here in Brooklyn. You can call that number 888-375-5444. Now, what brought me into this medicine is herbal medicine. And herbs we call the forgotten food. There's those parts of our diet that we may not think about. All of the plants outside, all of the trees and the weeds and the flowers, all of those actually have medicinal properties to them. And we will take those in the form of herbal medicine, whether you're talking about a tea, whether you're talking about an instant powder or capsules. Herbs come in so many different forms. But if you go to my website, manifestherbs.com, those are all my raw herbs formula. It comes as a big bag. Each bag of herbs is about a half a pound of herbs. And it's your root and your bark and your leaves and stems and flowers and seeds and rinds and all of that. You cook it up, that bush tea, as my folks say, into a tea, and you're drinking that and reprogramming yourself and tuning back in to nature and the environment and feeding all of your organs and your chi and your blood and your essence, everything that it needs to help to decrease inflammation, to help with moving your chi, strengthening your blood, moving your blood, just balancing out the body in different ways. I have a lot of different herbal formulas on there. Detox blend, colon cleanse, parasite cleanse, liver care, heart care, stress relief, some things for with the blood sugar, pressure, everything. Check that out at manifestherbs.com. So I think that will be about it if there aren't any questions. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.